It's hard to believe, but we are 1 week away from the start of school for tens of thousands of students. Keeping your kids safe on the way to school is just as important as keeping them safe in the classroom. Ayanna Willoughby tells us how to avoid getting a $300 ticket and a few days in court.
Pretty soon, these playgrounds will be filled with kids and the roads will be full of parents and bus drivers looking to take children to school. So if you're in a rush,
I would really recommend giving yourself some time even before, like maybe going a little earlier or maybe going in a little later.
If you're driving through a school zone, pay attention to crossing guards and the posted speed limit.
During school hours, of course, the yellow lights are flashing. They want you to slow down in those areas. Always pay attention to crosswalk.
Maybe you're just busy or preoccupied. Sometimes when you're driving, a school bus is the last thing on your mind. And when school buses are stopped with their flashers on,
officers really do advise do not pass school buses. It's very important to make sure our kids are getting to and from school safely.
In Alabama, the maximum fine for passing a stopped school bus is around $300 and a few days in court. Even if you can't afford the ticket, you're putting children's lives in danger. In Alabama, you have to stop for a school bus even if they're on the other side of the street. This applies to every road that does not have a physical median dividing it. On roads with no raised dividers like here on University, all traffic must stop when a school bus stops.
We don't want any accidents, any injuries, and that's just kind of the best way to prevent that.
Putting the Valley first, Ayanna Willoughby, WZDX News.
And by the way, Decatur City Police are hiring part-time crosswalk guards to ensure the safety of students and drivers this school year.